first thing that I want to do is get to the money, because why can't we combine crime, money, politics, all in the same segment? All in the same segment. Did you know there are Chicago police officers that make over $250,000 a year based off of overtime? You didn't know that, did you? You're just now finding that out for the first time, but I'm telling you that a lot of times we say that these guys are underpaid, and I still think that they are. However, I want to present to you the possibilities of what your life could be and what you can really be making. You could be driving a Lambo and be a police officer. How? Work for Chicago. They always got crime. And the mayor refuses to staff effectively, which then puts a shortage and allows for everybody else to be able to get the bag. I loved when I used to work for places like the steel mill where they had understaffing or people would quit, because I was thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm about to make way more money. I'm going to read that super chat shortly, my dog. Slant sells cars. I'm going to make way more money. But I'm curious as to what you guys think. Let's go through, because they're telling me that there are dozens of officers. And when I say dozens, I mean dozens of officers that's making over six figures. Let's talk about it.
CBS 2 is always investigating, and we wanted to know, is it possible to make more than $200,000 in overtime in 1 year?
If you're a City of Chicago employee, it is. CBS 2 got a first look at some soon-to-be-released data about city employees and overtime.
CBS 2's Suzanne Lemonnier has the story you'll see only on 2.
Data from the Office of Budget and Management shows last year there were dozens of city employees making more than $100,000 in overtime. In one department, just 2 employees took home a combined total of nearly $500,000.
Wait, let's take that in for a second. And I want y'all to consider how dangerous the job is, because a lot of us say, hey man, these police officers, they're underpaid, they should be making more. Firefighters, all of these first responders, okay, they get into it. Here's my question. How much is enough? How much is enough? What's the number that police officers should be making? Is it okay with paying them $500,000 a year? Between the two of them, $250,000 each, almost. Auto workers make it. Why not police officers? They giving it over to the migrant crisis. Why not police officers? All right, let's get to it.
Overtime. The CBS 2 investigators analyzed more than 1 million rows of soon-to-be-released data from the city's Office of Budget and Management. It shows 5 key city departments relied on overtime the most. We looked at overtime in the police, fire, and water departments, along with streets and sanitation and the Department of Assets, Information, and Services. Nearly 100 city employees earned more than $100,000 just in overtime last year.
Over 93 employees earned over 100 bands each just off overtime. And it ain't never going to be no shortage. Wow. Almost 100 employees and police officers got over 100 bands. I ain't mad at them. Let me give them a round of applause. You might as well. If they're going to take the taxpayers' money, they might as well give it to the police officers who don't even know if they're going to come home the next day, then give it over to the migrant crisis. Go ahead, everybody finesse in Chicago. Why not my beloved police officers too?
Here in 3 of those departments. 2 fire department employees fall into this category. A fire department spokesperson told us overtime earned was due to the need to fill staff vacancies. In the water department, 5 employees earned more than $100,000 each in overtime in 2023.
Hold on 1 second. Now, do you guys see the problem when it comes to not being able to manage effectively? Because when you're understaffed, it doesn't mean that you're not going to pay more for services. So, for example, we talked about New York City all year, this year and last year, about the fact that they said that they got to make budget cuts. Budget cuts meaning that, okay, well, we're going to minimize the amount of police officers and the amount of money that we're going to send over into the schools, or, you know, we're not going to continue to hire in more people. well, guess what? You still have needs. And so instead of you learning how to manage the budget more effectively, what you basically do is you overpay for the same thing that you would have been paying for at a minimum rate. So now you're giving them overtime, double time, you know what I'm saying, time and a half, probably on holidays that union negotiated for them to get triple time and stuff. And so you're overpaying for something that you should have adequately staffed. When you don't operate based off of structure, meeting successful staff levels, making sure that people get what it is that they deserve and they earn, what you wind up doing is you wind up overpaying for the same thing that you would have got, but you got a more tired police officer, not happy, people not feeling cool, and so they still got to fill these staff. So when you see a lot of these places and a lot of these governments say, oh, well, we got to cut the budget or we got to take some money away, really they just going to pay more money because they don't know how to manage effectively. So that's really what's happening.
In a statement to us, the Water Department also said vacancies, regular time off, and absenteeism are the drivers of overtime.
$100,000 or more in overtime, that should be a never, ever, ever situation, period.
Cap. It's always going to happen. Always.
We asked Joe Ferguson, the president of the Civic Federation and former inspector general for the city of Chicago under 3 mayors, to weigh in on these findings.
And that is a, to mix metaphors, screaming red flag that something internally is not being tracked and monitored and addressed, because it simply should not happen.
The data shows 85 sworn Chicago Police Department members, the largest department, made more than $100,000 in overtime last year.
They must be a part of the bag chasers. Shout out to my Chicagoans, especially the police officers running up a check. Yeah, he did say period, didn't he? He said period. Period, Pooh. Shout out to my police officers over there in Chicago getting that bag, running it up, making sure that they can go and get their Lambos too.
Year. 2 of them made more than double that. One member made more than $250,000, while another had about $230,000. That's
oh man. Hey, shout out to the person on the left, and then he went ahead and took the person on the right under their wing and said, man, listen, bro, if we gonna be here, if we gonna have migrants all up in the police station, if we ain't gonna have no shot spotter, if we just gonna have criminals running rampant and it's a possibility for us to lose our life, we might as well run up a bag. We might as well go and get that bag. Shout out to the police officers getting a quarter. Who knew that a police officer in Chicago could make $250,000 per year? Sheesh.
It's almost $500,000 in overtime alone for just 2 police department employees in 1 year.
This person unquestionably worked all of the time to result in pay at that level. It's his supervisors, it's the department, it's their systems that have failed here.
In response to this story, the Chicago Police Department issued a statement that says in part, overtime has been used to help maintain public safety during a police officer shortage. As we work to fill these vacancies, we must also ensure there are sufficient resources citywide to respond to critical incidents, emergencies, and large gatherings that require additional police attention.
Shout out to the large gatherings. Hey, y'all know that that's a Brandon Johnson term, right? He said, listen, don't call them criminals. Don't say that they rioting. Don't say that they're illegally protesting. Don't call it a migrant crisis. Don't say that it's crime happening and it's gang members. Listen, we got to have our police officers sufficiently staffed so that they can deal with these emergencies and large gatherings. I think that they put that in there to troll. Large gatherings that require additional police attention. Shout out to y'all. Get that bag. I ain't tripping. Go get that bag, bro.
Emergencies and large gatherings that require additional police attention. So what is the city's solution to massive overtime? Ferguson says there should be overtime levels in place and a staffing analysis needs to be done in these city departments.
It doesn't mean these people aren't working hard. It means that we're not working well and the taxpayers are not being well served in all of this. That's the responsibility of the fifth floor. That's the responsibility of the mayor's office.
We did reach out to the mayor's office for comment on this story, in particular, asking about the over $200 million in police overtime, which was more than double the budgeted amount for 2023.
And this is what I was trying to tell y'all. $100 million was budgeted in overtime, apparently, or less than that, but they have over 200 million. Now they'll sit there and say, well, we don't have any more money for police. We ain't got no shot spotter money. We got to take this out. We got to take this out. Well, now you're going to pay more than $100 million more than what you budgeted for. So how do you effectively manage a budget that's always over in every single thing that you do, whether it got to do with the migrant crisis, police officers, firefighters, city services, water department, mayors, they gave themselves raises. Everybody is getting to the bag. Listen, they are stealing y'all blind. For all of my constituents and all of my people that are taxpayers, and I ain't mad at the police officers for getting they due too, but let me tell y'all something. Everybody is robbing the city blind, and eventually it's going to collapse. It may not necessarily collapse during his administration, so now they can kick the can down the road, but the reality is that somebody got to pay the piper. And you can only borrow so much money. You can only raise property taxes up so much before the people start to revolt because they can't afford to live in a city that is not even adequately staffed or protected for you to be able to do your everyday duties. You can't go to the grocery store. You can't walk your dog at night. You can't go and visit your side chick. You can't catch an Uber. Uber drivers is under duress. You can't go to the store on the Miracle Mile because they got a 30% vacancy rate on some parts of the strip. You can't do nothing. You know what you can do? Sit there and work and then continue to let them spend your money frivolously because they do not know how to manage a city budget effectively. That is basically what's happening. You guys are under duress because of the ignorance and the stupidity of your legislators that don't even know how to run anything, let alone their own finances or a city budget. Absolutely. Somebody says side chick. Yeah, people be going out to see their side chick. Let that man cheat in peace. He going to see his chick. Do that mean that he's supposed to have his life taken away? No, absolutely not. Should we hold him accountable if he call into the Anton Daniels channel on Wednesday and say, Anton, this is what my circumstance is? 100%. But at the same time, police still got to keep him safe. Police still got to keep him safe. So listen, this is your tax dollars at work. I should just do a whole segment almost every day or every week or at a different time. These are your tax dollars at work. And then I could just show the frivolous spending. You know, we can pull all of this information from the Freedom of Information Act, right? All of the government spending, all of the salaries, how it is that they budget, what they really spending their money on. It takes nothing but a Freedom of Information Act request for us to find out what's happening. That's how the news found out what's happening. We just reacted to it. So be careful, man. Be careful. Run up the bag. Be careful who you tell that you're running up the bag, because then they're going to start doing research and investigation and see who over there sleeping on the job and getting paid double time and time and a half on Sundays. You know what I'm saying? Yes, everybody, the mayor, police officers is making more than the mayor. Now, you know something got to be wrong when you got that type of situation.